What's going on, everybody, and welcome to Mike Rock Uncensored. If you guys heard my message yesterday, you guys know that I was pretty upset, and I'm still pretty upset by everything that's going on. And as much respect as I have for someone like a Kirk, because I actually listened to his messages, I actually followed him on YouTube and everything else, and I had a lot of respect for the things that he had to say. It's the bigger picture that I'm more concerned with, at least from my end. It's not I don't mean to take away uh from what happened. I don't mean to make it seem like it's not a big deal just because I didn't know the man. It is a big deal. What's going on is a big deal. And people deserve to be angry with everything that's going on. But when you have time, if you're literally trying to do what's best for this country or for your family or whatever the case may be, there has to come a time or a moment where you have to sit back and try to figure out what the actual issue is. And so I do that. I do that a lot. That's the reason why I do get angry, because I actually do care. Whether you agree with my perspectives on life, whether you care with about any of those things, whether you care, how whether I wake up in the morning or not, whether you hate me, whether you love me. The thing is we are never going to get anywhere unless we begin to have these conversations and produce some kind of mutual agreement between both sides. And I'm not exactly sure whether that's going to be able to happen anytime soon. And but I'm at least willing to have those conversations. And so what we're going to do, and we can start it by tonight. We probably won't get anyone listening that will want to do it tonight. But whether you're from the right or the left, in the link on both Facebook and YouTube, I put in my Discord information to get into my waiting room. And I'll be checking it out throughout the night. If you have something that you want to say and you have Discord, you are more than welcome to get into my waiting room. I'll pull you over into the show and you can ask whatever questions you like. You can even agree to disagree, but in order for this to work, I need to put you on notice right now. The one thing we will not be doing is assassinating a person's character, especially when you don't have enough information to actually assassinate that person's character yourself. So if you don't know me and you can't debate the facts or you don't like the things that I'm saying, I will kick you off the show. I will mute you very quick if your only intention is to get on here and think an insult is going to prove your point. We need the conversations that we need to be having, need to be speaking from a place of truth. Even if your truth is not necessarily the truth, we need to know that you genuinely believe the things that you're saying. But if you're just, like I said, if you don't have facts to support your agenda or whatever's going on with you, if you don't have the facts or the truth to support it, or at least want to have that conversation, then you don't need to be here on the show. You don't need to be trying to have those conversations, because it's not going to produce anything but more anger between both the left and the right. So again, if you want to be a part of that, if you want to share your opinions, I'll be watching over here to my right. I'll be watching for anyone to join the show. You just have to have Discord, and we'll try to bring you in the first break or whenever there's, just to see where things are. This is something new for me. I've been wanting to do this for a while. So and for me, um I'm not as eloquent a speaker as a lot of people. I'm not going to be speaking to you about facts all day, but I do have like Chat GPT on one side so that we can try to investigate some of the things that you guys are saying. One thing about me that you should know moving forward is that I don't have a problem being wrong about certain things. I don't necessarily agree with everything that's been going on with the right. And I do wish that there are some things that they're doing that could have been done differently. I do. However, we live in a country where when we vote, we have to vote for one side or the other. We have to figure out if both sides are evil, and I'm not saying that they are, but if both sides are evil, what it really comes down to for us as individuals is which is the lesser evil. Which side is backing our play more than the other. And for me, I don't have a I used to have a problem saying things like this because I don't like offending people. At least I do, and to an extent, I still care about offending my friends and family members and everything else. But I'm gonna say what needs to be said anyway, because being quiet about things hasn't gotten me or my family anywhere. Being quiet about my own beliefs has only encouraged people from the other side to think that it's okay to spew nonsense and you're just supposed to take it in the rear like not like you agree with everything that they're saying. And the time has come where we have to be able to stand up and say, hey, look, either I don't agree with what you have to say, or this probably isn't the best conversation for us to have because we know it's going to get heated. We know that we could possibly end this relationship because our opinions are just so different. Those are the kind of we need. If you're not strong enough to have a conversation with someone from the other side, then you don't deserve, you don't have the right to think it's okay to spew things that you haven't done the research on, that you know nothing about. And that's not something that we're going to allow on this show. If I'm going to man up and admit to you when I'm wrong, or to tell you simply I don't know enough in order to answer that question. A lot of the things that I speak on are things that I know about, things that I have an instinct about, things that it doesn't really take a rocket scientist to put together. Those are the things that I'm going to be speaking on, I'm going to give you the same respect that I expect in return. With that said, again, if you want to be a part of the show at any point, you want to join, and this is just for the live shows, and you want to be a part of it, all I ask is that you join the waiting room. If you've got Discord, if you don't, download it, because we're going to have some fun, not just today, but any day moving forward when we do these live shows. Or you can just respond in the chat. I'll do my best to look at everything that everybody's saying, and we'll see where we go from there. And I know I'm opening myself up to some nonsense because we're going to have a lot of extremists from both sides that don't agree necessarily with what I'm saying or with what someone else has to say, and they're going to do exactly what I'm telling you we're not supposed to be doing on this show. We are not supposed to be assassinating a person's character or insulting someone simply because you don't have enough information, or you're just too uneducated, too unknowledgeable to be able to answer a question with actual facts. You just can't do it. So I'm not going to allow you to be on this show and insult other people, including myself, just because you can't speak with facts, because you can't speak with the truth. Now, last thing before we move forward, man, if you guys want to be a part of these conversations, if you guys want to be a people that is actually starting to talk about the issues and put them on the table, whether you are right or left, we're going to do our best to have civil conversations or to agree to go ahead and have these heated discussions that need to be had sometimes, but promise to be as respectful as humanly possible. Get off the playing field, and hopefully we can still be friends, because at the end of the day, whether we agree or disagree, we cannot let the government, we cannot let the media influence our behavior amongst one another. I have already lost too many friends and too many family members because we can't simply agree to disagree. And at the end of the day, the only thing I really care about is what are your intentions. If your intentions are pure, if you actually want to do right by your family, if you actually want to do right by our people as in this country, whether you're black, white, whatever the case may be, those are the people we want to have conversations with. I love to learn new things when I'm not right, or when I just don't know enough. I love doing that. And that's what I think, that's where we need to be as a people. So just keep that in mind moving forward. And if you want to be a part of this, I invite you to join me over at patreon.com/, Mike Rock. The reason why I'm doing that is not so that you can subscribe. It's free to join. I have a free membership in there, but we have a community where you can ask questions, where we can give you answers. We can, just talk about certain things. And if the topic's interesting enough, I would love to bring it on the show, and possibly even you, if that is something you want to do in the future. So patreon.com/, Mike Rock. I'm not sophisticated enough with all my equipment to be able to just flash that on the screen just yet. So let's talk. Charlie Kirk is dead, and it's unfortunate. And I think what's bothering me more than anything else is how much people on the left are celebrating. Now, I'm going to qualify everything that I say right now first by telling you that no, I don't believe every person on the left is celebrating the death of Charlie Kirk. I also don't believe that everybody on the left agrees with a lot of the things that are happening on the left. But I will say that I don't hear anybody on the left. They're condemning the violence, but they're still refusing to accept accountability for the things that have happened that, yes, they are to blame for. And you know that they're to blame because if you read the conversations on X right now, or anywhere else for that matter, you will hear them saying the things that they are doing to people on the other side. It's common talking points. It's like they've gotten together like they've always done and says, how do we tackle this situation? And this is what everybody needs to say. And it's always the exact same thing. Right now, we may not know who the shooter was, but we know why it happened. Out of everybody that could have been shot at this event, it was Charlie Kirk and only Charlie Kirk that was shot. They found the gun, and on the gun, the bullet casings, there's some kind of trans right, a radical left nonsense that was inscribed on the bullet casings. Now, is it a setup? I don't know. But I know that that information was there for a reason. We know that that was a public assassination for a reason. And what's bothering me is that people want to act like we don't really know what happened. There's a lack of accountability and a lack of responsibility for the things that they're saying. And again, you know that they know because they're spewing out the things that they've already done and don't want to see happen to them. What do I mean? Well, go on X. Like I said, listen to what they're saying. They're trying to predict that the right, the conservatives and the Republicans are going to get violent. That they're spewing quote unquote rhetoric that is going to create a civil war. Never mind all of the rhetoric that they've already spewed on Donald Trump and that has been proven to be wrong. The Russia hoax has been proven to be wrong. The Hunter Biden laptop has proven to be real, even though they told you it wasn't. They've called every political leader that doesn't agree with their narrative. They've convinced you that they are white supremacists. Not only white, and here's the catch. They've convinced you that they're white supremacists, that they're the violent party, and that racism can't exist among the Black community. Black people cannot be racist. Every last thing that they're accusing the right of possibly doing, they've already done. And I'm not saying this because because I don't believe that there is a place where we can come together and start agreeing on things. What I'm saying is we will never agree until their party can actually start accepting accountability and responsibility for the things that they have already done. Tell me, please let me know when the right, Republicans, conservatives have ever recently, I can't speak for, decades and centuries on end, but recently, please tell me where a conservative or Republican has been responsible for mass shootings. That the reason why they were involved in these mass shootings is just because they were tired of the left winning these battles and not being able to agree with them. Tell me that. The amount of videos of people saying they don't feel bad or they're happy that he got shot is sickening. Exactly. That's the other thing. Show me a single video where you've got Republicans, more than one, because you got idiots on all sides of the fence, but you show me a video where you've got several Republicans celebrating, operative word, celebrating the death of someone that died on their side. I want to know. And if I'm wrong about it, I'm wrong about it. but I haven't seen it. I'm 51 years old officially as of September 1st. Happy birthday to me. But as old as I am, I have never seen the conservative side or Republicans celebrate the death of someone on the other side. Honestly, I don't think I've ever seen them celebrate the death of people other than, foreign, hostile foreign countries and things like that. But I don't see them celebrating the deaths of people in our own country like I've seen on the left. And the sad part is when they say it out loud. When you say it out loud, let me tell you the formula. The formula for people on the left and the right. Here's the formula: deny as long as if you can't prove it, deny it as long as you can't. And then when you can prove it, hopefully enough time has expired where you can just move on and act like it never happened. That's the formula of the left. Deny it until you get caught. And once you're caught, hope enough time has expired so that you can just move on and act like it never happened. Next. And we're tired of it. That's what we're tired of. Notice I'm not even getting into specifics with the woke agenda and everything else. I'm simply talking about all the lies, all the deceit, all the violence that is happening from just one side. You think I got somebody, and I'm gonna bring up I'm without naming names because they don't deserve any kind of attention that they don't want. But I have a friend. Her family has some illegal immigrants and stuff in their families. They're hardworking people. I got nothing but love for them. But then they want to get mad for that one issue of the deportations and ICE getting involved. Like I'm supposed to vote for the left simply because I don't want to see people get deported. Like I said, we had two choices. And you have to take in the pros and cons as a whole and make a decision and vote for what you believe is right. I do believe, now, for the record, I have no problem saying this. I do believe that because of the actions of our presidents on the left, that the immigrants, the illegal immigrants that were invited, and that's the operative word, that were invited to be here for selfish reasons of our deep state government, they should have, as long as they have been working and not committing any additional crimes, they should have been afforded an opportunity at some kind of amnesty or earning their citizenships through some kind of due process. I don't know exactly how it would have worked, but because it was partly our fault, it was just as much our fault for inviting them over as it was their fault for coming over illegally. For those people, I do have sympathy for, and I wish there was another way. But if you're telling me that I should have voted for all of the woke nonsense, all of the fake racism and everything else, just so that we can allow people, illegal citizens, illegal aliens and stuff in order to be here, I'm sorry, I just can't do it. I do believe in America first. Call me a nationalist, and that's what I am because I'm tired of seeing everybody benefit from taxpayer dollars that isn't us. So, and again, at the end of the day, I didn't say anything to hurt anybody's feelings. If you got offended and butthurt by what I said, that's a you problem because my intention is not to insult people or to hurt their feelings. I want a better country just like a lot of you do. We just don't, we just disagree or have differing opinions about how we get there. The reason why we have so many huge issues, however, between the left and the right, it isn't for the moderate things that we can agree on or we slightly disagree on. It's because of all of these extremist issues that the government and the media has forced on us. And you can say it however you want. But let me ask you this. You can disagree with me, but let me ask you. Growing up, let's start with something a little more simple. How can you hate a person that you don't even know? I don't love Trump because I don't know Trump. You already know how most Democrats feel about firearms, yet the people still want to. See, we could talk all day about the things that I don't agree with. And we'll probably get to one each individually because I'm learning how to stay on point, stay on topic about a certain thing and not ramble on too much. But how do you, let's just have a real conversation with one another. How do you hate a man that you don't even know? And then when you know you've been lied to and they give you the information to show you that you've been lied to, why do you keep listening to sources that are continuously lying to you? Why? I wouldn't care if it's the right or the left. When you know what kind of person does that make you when the only reason why you're supporting a certain topic or a certain agenda or anything like that is because it benefits you somehow, even if it's a lie? What kind of person does that make you? That's crazy. And I I don't, we can get a little bit more detailed about the things that I do and I don't agree with. But right now, I really just the point of this conversation is to show you that we all have been duped. The black communities have been duped. All these woke parties and agendas, those people have been duped. I don't agree with your philosophy on life, but I do believe that we can coexist without having to fight all the time. You've got your circles, I've got my circle. Yes, you have idiots that are going to continue to humiliate you and try to embarrass you and make fun of you, but that comes from both sides. But as a whole, we can all have our own circles, coexist, and not feel the need to invade everyone else's circles and force things like pronouns and stuff on other people. We don't have to live like that, but we're listening to the wrong people tell us what we should and should not be doing. Where are you getting your information? Or are you trying to figure out things? I've never been done more dirty than by people in my own family. Never, never in my life have I ever been done more dirty than people in my own family. And what's really embarrassing to me is that everybody wants to act like they respect people like a Dr. Martin Luther King or a Malcolm X, but you're turning on your own people. You're robbing your own people. You want to blame white people when you're the biggest problem to your own community. And you don't have to believe me. In fact, I'll just show you. I'll just show you. You don't want to see this. This is what they don't talk about in the media. This is some NCVS statistics that they've been using to show you what the white on black and the black on crime percentages are. They only have up to 2023. But look, and you can verify this for yourself. I will never show you anything that you can't verify yourself. But look at this. Black. Oh, actually, let's just scroll down. This one's easier. So in 2023, the victim race was the black race. So white on black crime, which is the first line, says that there were 117,900 accounts of white on black crimes. And then just below it, you see black on white crimes, 385,400 incidences of black on white crime. The year before that, white on black, 96,550. Black on white crime, 543,480. Again, when do we start being accountable for our own actions? When do we stop crying and whining about being victims to things that we caused ourselves? You want to blame other cultures, you want to blame other races for the things that you don't have. But when I look at other cultures, when I look at other races, I actually envy what they have. I see that they work together. I see that if one struggles, they all struggle. When one succeeds, they all succeed. Meanwhile, inside of the black community, we're trying to figure out who's the next person we can rob next door. Everybody's looking, somebody else, somebody new moves in, you're looking at what they're bringing inside so you can figure out whether it's something worth breaking into their home to steal. No, that's not everybody. I'm just saying that we all know it happens and you're a fool. We are fools. If you want to act, if you're going to continue to act like things like this happen, and no, it's not limited to the black community, but that's the community I'm speaking to, because we can do better. We don't need the handouts. We need to be working together more. Stop acting like we have earned or we deserve respect that we're not working for. That's not a anybody else problem. We can't begin to deal with problems outside of our own culture until we deal with the problems that we have with each other. I don't want my kids growing up with drug dealers and criminals as role models when they decide to start rapping and stuff. That's ridiculous. You want to make fun of other people that sing country music, pop rock, and all this other kind of stuff, but why are we idolizing out of all the people we could idolize? Inventors, activists, real people we want to idolize. Who set us up to idolize rappers, criminal drug dealers, and everything else, murderers, and all this other kind of stuff? Who set that shit up? Why is that okay? I'm not saying that there isn't a valid argument. I'm not saying at all that there isn't a valid argument when it comes to being done dirty in certain areas. That's not the point of this conversation. We could talk about that another time. But when do you address the problems within your own community and within your own culture? When do you stop blaming other people for the things you don't have when you're the reason why you don't have them? I'm going off on a rant, kind of, but these are things that need to start being said. I don't want to just make this about the trans agenda or anything. It isn't one. It isn't one issue. It's a lot of issues that are on the left-hand side that people have been duped into believing is real. That objective reality needs to go away. Objective reality is not a reality. It is basically saying that we don't have facts or science to back up anything we say, so we're going to include it in this little objective reality bubble and say that it's real. And then what we're going to do after that is we're going to invent college courses to support a reality that simply does not exist. There is nothing to support what we believe in. You can, as long as we say it's okay, it is okay for you to identify as that. If we say it's okay to identify as a cat or a dog, you can be a cat or a dog. You see, I'm trying to stay away from the actual issue. But you get what I'm saying. I mean, if you want to go into the actual issue, if you want an actual point, how is it okay? We'll say it. I'm going to say it out loud. Don't care if you get upset, because this isn't about insulting this is about speaking truth. How is it okay? How is it not crazy to say that a man can be a woman, but it's not okay? It is crazy to say that a black person can't identify as a white person, or that a white person, in this case, because it's an actual case where a white person can't identify as a black person. If it's not consistent, how do we determine what is crazy, what is not crazy, and so forth? How do we do that? I don't know. And these are the problems that we are dealing with, because if you want to deal with that yourself, you want to deal with that on your own time, more power to you. Keep it away from me. I choose to rely on facts. I choose to rely on science. I choose to believe in my God. Whether I'm the most devout Christian on the planet or not, those are the things that I choose to believe in. So why are you trying to force those things on me as a person, on me as a man, on me as a father? That's where we begin to have problems. Nobody cares what you want to do in your own time. We care about you invading our own personal freedoms because your protected class, your DEI project, your LGBTQ community is telling me that I now have to. That if I don't support a certain thing, that I'm an outcast, that I'm going to be canceled, that you're forcing these things on me. That's where the issue's at. And now, because you guys are losing the battle, this becomes the bigger issue. This becomes an issue for me because even though my sons are older, I still have a daughter that I have to protect. And I don't care how old she gets, I have to continue protecting her. But we have now gotten on a page because the left is no longer winning. Because free speech is actually coming back. Because you can't censor how I think and feel anymore. You've gone from a culture of being peaceful and loving. And all of a sudden, you've become violent. You're actually killing people, but you want to say, but you protect yourself by saying that it's the right doing it when you have no evidence whatsoever to support that. I really hope, I really hope that Donald Trump, the president, I really hope that before he is out of office, that he completely dismantles both the deep state government and the media. The media is not giving us the news we need to hear. They are giving us a narrative that they want you and me to follow. That's all they're giving you. If it doesn't fit their narrative, they're not going to sell it to you. And with that said, I'm actually going to bring up another friend of mine. I'm not going to name names, but hopefully when they hear me talk about this, they'll know I'm speaking towards them and they'll know that I appreciate them actually bringing this to my attention because it's because of the media that I just didn't know. So this whole thing that's been happening with Charlie Kirk, it overshadowed something else that was happening, and that was the school shooting that took place, I believe, in a high school called Evergreen in Colorado. I knew nothing about it. It wasn't because I didn't care. It wasn't because I thought Charlie Kirk's death was more important than what happened to more kids in a school shooting. It's simply because the media picks and choose what it wants to share with the rest of us. I don't live in Colorado. So I appreciate that person bringing it to my attention, but it wasn't because I didn't care or because I thought something else was more important. It's because we have a media that dictates what we're allowed to see and what we're allowed to hear about. I knew nothing about it until they shared it with me, and it's very unfortunate what happened to them. And I said a prayer for the families of those kids that were hurt, injured, and I have to do an update actually because I know pretty much the kid, the shooter, I believe, is dead, but I haven't heard any updates on the kids themselves. I'm a huge advocate for kids. That's part of the reason why I started doing what I'm doing now with this podcast because the kids need to be left alone. And it's just funny because here it is 5 years later after I started a podcast, and I've been nobody can tell me that I have not been consistent. The only thing that has changed my mind about anything is when someone has brought me information that I've been able to research, and that has changed my mind. I'm not changing my mind because it's profitable to be over here and not over here. I was speaking these same truths when I knew there was a possibility that I could be canceled. I was speaking these same truths when when I knew YouTube and Google was going to remove me from their algorithm so that my video didn't get shared as much. I care more. I would love to be in a situation to where I'm making a full-time income off of what I do. Not because I'm greedy, but because I do believe there's so much more I could do with money and income that I haven't had. There are things I want to do. For instance, I was fortunate, I was blessed. Somebody paid for me to go to trucking school. I would like to be able to return the favor. So, as much shit as you think I'm talking about the black community, one thing I would love to do is as soon as I am able, I would love to take some of this money that I have been blessed with as a result of someone sending me to trucking school and improving the quality of life for me and my family. And I would love to be able to do the same thing for someone else. I would love to take $500 of the extra money that I've made and go find a family at need and bless them with a Christmas that they wouldn't have otherwise had. I don't need the attention for it. I'm not trying to blast it on video and embarrass the families that I'm doing help for. We don't need all that. I just want to do something better. And I want to be grateful. I want to show my God that I am grateful for what he has done in my life, for the people he has blessed me with in my life. That's what we need more of. We need to stop listening to the media dictate what we believe, who we're supposed to hate. We need to start trusting each other more. And regardless of whether we agree or disagree, we shouldn't allow the government and outside influence dictate how we're supposed to love and care about one another. That's just ridiculous. And but if you are one of them people that decide that we can't be friends, because I voted for Donald Trump. Not because I'm in love with Donald Trump, not because I'm a MAGA supporter, but because I want what's best for this country, and these woke agendas are only destroying it. At the end of the day, I'm playing chess while these other people are playing checkers. I'm looking ahead at the future for both me and my kids because we have destroyed any possibility of our kids having a normal life because we're too selfish and greedy to do the right thing. We're going to be getting a lot more involved with individual topics, and I'm hoping that I'm hoping that, unlike my last video, that we were able to stay on point at least as much as possible so that you guys can at least understand where I'm coming from. I don't know. I don't want to be the offensive type. And I've set up the show to where if you want to be on this show, all you got to do is join the waiting room. Be respectful about it. We're not going to be here. We're not here to assassinate someone's character, like I said earlier, because that's not going to get us to a solution. Talking about the issues, and if you don't have answers, then don't join the conversation. If you have questions because you really don't know, I invite those people to join the show. Let's talk about it. But you're not just going to get on here and say, you're a piece of shit, Mike Rock, because you're the next Charlie Kirk and everything else. No, I am consistent in what I believe. And I don't believe that we're doing good. We're not being there for someone like we should be when we're not recognizing what's really wrong with the situation. We need to understand that there are mental issues that need to be addressed. If we're not addressing those properly, I don't care which side it needs to get addressed. This little situation with the girl that was stabbed, the unfortunate situation where the girl was stabbed in Charlotte. Now, it sickens me that the left can turn around and call everything else racist. It's okay when they label something as racist, but the minute that something is actually at least racially motivated, and it's the black community on the not the receiving end, but they're the perpetrators. All of a sudden, why are they bringing up race? They're making this about race. No, you're making it about race. We're just calling the bullshit out for what it is. This man stabbed this girl, and when he was done on video, he said, I got that white girl. He said it twice. But you want to act like it wasn't racially motivated. Dude, a spade is a spade. It is what it is. It happened. Why are we running from it? And man, my forehead is so big that it keeps pushing my hat up, and I'm trying to be on here and look professional, and then I just got this little line going on, whatever, man. But it was racially motivated. But at the end of the day, that's not meant that doesn't mean every black person in the world is about to go out and kill people. Is about to go out and hurt people, that has it in their mind that they want to stab the first white girl they see out there. That's not what that means. It means that there's a problem that needs to get addressed. And in that particular case, whether he was white, black, or whatever, we already know he had a mental issue. Why wasn't that mental issue addressed before he was allowed to attack that girl in that subway station? See, that's a real conversation. I don't want to just sit here and say, oh my God, black people have so many problems. Dude, that's not getting us anywhere. And for anybody on the left that thinks that because somebody like me is sharing this conversation with you, I don't wish violence on anybody. I will defend myself. And if that means you get hurt in the process, then it is what it is. But I'm not trying to initiate violence with anyone. I'm trying to create a world where we can coexist like it used to be back in the day. I have said so much insulting shit to my friends and vice versa. Growing up, we used to fist fight, throw each other in the bushes. Man, there were so many things that we did as kids, and we would turn around the same day and we'd brush it off. You good, man? Yeah, I'm good. You good? And we would go back to being friends. But it's gone away, and it needs to come back. I'm I was hoping that somebody would be listening at this point and decide that they had something to say. Dylan, I do appreciate you jumping into the comment section to say your piece. Listen, if you're afraid, the reason why I decided to do Discord, and I don't mean afraid like you're a coward. I mean that if you don't want the people to know who's speaking, because you're going to be heard. And if you don't want people to know who you are, you don't want them to know your name. The wonderful thing about Discord is you can sign up and you can have a username. And when you join my user room, I'm not going to go out of my way to figure out who you are. If you want to tell me who you are, that's great. If you don't want to tell me who you are, I'm not going to try to expose you on TV because, again, that's not the point of why we have these conversations. I really want answers to what's going on. I don't pretend to understand what half of these woke extremists are going through. But despite my beliefs and my disagreements and all of the other kind, I am one of the few that wants real answers from both sides. And I'm hoping that over time that it's not going to happen right away. We can forget about that. There are too many things that we disagree on. And we have, and if anything, if I was to take just one thing that we could turn around and focus on to help us come together in the end, I would turn our attention towards the government that caused all this. No, I'm not talking about Donald Trump. I'm talking about that deep state government that we are trying to dismantle, that is paying influencers and all these other people to say the dumb shit that they're saying online. We need to figure out how to dismantle that. We need to figure out how to push the reset button on what we now know as mainstream media. That's where our attention needs to be, because we need to accept the fact that we all, both on the left and the right, we have been duped into believing every last thing that we know. Everything. If they don't want us to know about it, they aren't going to. I'll be the first to tell you, I am not happy with what's going on with these Epstein files. I don't care if you're rich. I don't care if you're poor. If you were involved in any kind of pedophilia actions against these victims, we need to know about it. You need to be exposed. You need to have your genitals cut off. You need to go to prison for the rest of your bad things need to happen to you each and every single day or for the rest of your life while you're on this planet. So no, I am not happy with the fact that they told us that they would expose all of that information. And for whatever reason, they've decided something has happened to make them decide that we should hold back. And if I'm not mistaken, a lot of you want to say, well, we know what happened. That was Donald Trump. No, it wasn't. I don't know if you guys, I don't know what media outlets you guys are listening to, but you can go and fact check this yourself. Donald Trump was an informant for the FBI on what was happening with Epstein. When at the time Epstein was getting caught and everything else, Donald Trump was an informant. Is he totally innocent? I don't know. I just know that he was an informant for the FBI at the time. As far as everything else, I don't know. I'll be honest with you. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I know that there's some kind of king or prince or something in Africa who publicly came out and said that it would be a detriment to his livelihood if some information that is about to be exposed in America actually came out about him. I'm just assuming that that has something to do with the Epstein files, but I don't know. What I am pretty sure of, however, is that if the I do believe that there's a direct connection between a lot of people that is on that Epstein list and a lot of people in our deep state government. And I believe that if you expose one, you destroy the other. But I also believe that needs to happen. And I don't care if it's a left thing or a right thing. I don't care. It needs to get exposed. It needs to be put out there. We need to know who these people are, because we need the great reset. That's what we need. We need to start over. Anyways, man, if you guys don't have any questions, you guys know where I'm at. And again, I'm going to tell you, you guys really need, if you guys want to help push that reset button on a lot of our issues between the right and the left, I invite you to join me over at patreon.com/Mike Rock. What I'm going to be doing is I'm actually going to be hitting the road very soon as a truck driver, but I want to be able to extend this podcast. I want to have my home studio and I want to have my studio inside of my sleeper berth so that we can continue to have these conversations. I have plans to do as much as I can. You may think I'm talking shit about the Black community, but I'm not. What I'm willing to do, however, is to speak truth as I know it, expose game as it needs to be exposed, but I also want to turn around and help people the best that I can. I'm not just going to talk about it, I want to be about it. And we'll discuss things that we're going to do. But the first thing that needs to happen is if you guys want to be a part of all these things, if you want to share your opinions, join me over there at patreon.com/Mike Rock. You can also just follow me here, subscribe to the channel, participate as much as you can, or just listen to what we've got going on. Because when I came back, the clarity of purpose that I've had for this podcast and for myself is that I wanted to bring more people together. And I know some of you are just going to say, oh, well, you can't do that when you're putting people down. Sometimes we need to be broken down in order to build ourselves back up. And living in the world, this delusional world that we're in right now, it isn't helping a single person. I didn't get the help I needed until I was able to accept the fact that I have messed up so much in my life, and some really bad things had to happen to me in my lifetime in order for me to start building myself back up. We can talk about those things over time. I don't hide things from anybody. I don't have anything to hide. But anyways, I need to get out of here. I need to get some rest. I hope that this has been at least motivational enough to you to where that makes you want to get engaged. If not with me, get engaged with where you're at. Start educating yourself on what's really going on and stop listening to anybody and everybody as an individual. And that includes me. Don't even listen to everything that I say without trying to back up the information, putting facts to the information that you're hearing. That's the best advice that I can give you. That's how we begin to heal. That's how we begin to grow. And more importantly, that's how we unite as a community. I'm Mike Rockman. You guys have a great rest of your night, and I will talk to you guys again soon. Peace.